We will start it off with Kim for your first question for Coach Rubio.
Well, the blocking today was pretty impressive. And then on the other side, in the net, how do you balance those two things? All the net calls.
Well, I'm really proud of we've been spending quite a bit of time on the blocking for the pin blockers, picking the right spots, and then the middle, just getting really fundamentally just try to get over the net, get square, and so we've been spending a lot of time with it actually the last 3 weeks, and so it's a combination of the pin blockers picking a good spot early, and then the middle blockers getting next to them, and so it's nice that we were able to kind of continue to improve in that area, get reinforced by that the last couple matches.
And Emery, that was especially impressive from her. I'm not sure I've seen a setter have 7 anytime recently, 7 blocks out there.
So I heard Emery, help me out here, Danny, on Emery.
Her blocking, I'm not sure I've seen, right. I'm not sure I've seen a server be that effective recently.
Right, so Emery, there's so many in-between plays and unscripted plays that go unnoticed that she helps our team function. Blocking being one of them. She's not a huge presence on the net, but she does a nice job of picking spots. She takes away a decent amount of space. She's not real high over the net, but because she picks a big spot and because she gets her hands over the net, those two things alone, I would think that most coaches are asking their players to do exactly what she's doing. So I thought that in our game plan, we were moving the block inside on Friday, and they were taking advantage of that, and so we decided to try to be a little more line present against number 22, which was the matchup that they had against her. But she does, Emery's really a terrific athlete. If you really just kind of sat and watched her move and play and dig all the balls that are, an inch off the floor, it's pretty impressive the things she does. The thing that she's probably needs to improve the most would be setting, and that'll be the area that I think for her will make the most improvements. I think all the other things, the defense, the serving, the blocking, and all the in-between plays, she already does at a very, very high level. The setting is the area for me that is kind of a work in progress, and it will be a work in progress, and that's just kind of the hardest skill for her at this time.
And you talked about Colorado being more experienced, but your team was able to hold tough as things got tight at the end of sets. What does that say about how your team is developing, about being strong at the end when it's close?
Colorado's done, they split with UCLA last week, and they've gone 5 with several really top-level programs. And, so for us, it kind of gives us some tangible proof that, we're making making some good improvements. And the last 3 weeks have been really good for us, even though I think we've won 3 out of the last 4 matches. So that part's been really good. I see some really good individual improvement, and as a result, our team is certainly a little more consistent in putting ourselves in a position to win. And I thought that Sophia today played much more like she had been playing. I thought on Friday was a little off night for her, but again, you can't fault her for all the things and how productive she's been for us throughout the season.
Sean, you're next.
What's up, Coach?
Hey, Sean.
So one of the things I wanted to ask you about us from last match that I noticed is that Colorado was very effective in tipping over the net. They had a lot of success in the last match, but this one they didn't, especially in that first set. So I was wondering, were there any adjustments that you made in order to take such a useful tactic that Colorado used away in this match?
They certainly were effective in the first match as well. And when they're tipping out of the middle, our pin blockers and the person who's not, the front row player who's not blocking is responsible for picking that up, depending on where the location of the off-speed shot is. And, we weren't very good. Our left front blocker wasn't disciplined enough, and so we worked on that yesterday. But they were still pretty good. I mean, a really good, effective tip is almost impossible to defend. But fortunately, most of the time, they're not, that accurate. And so but we need to do a better job at it. There's no question that was something, a weakness for us today.
And then one player I want to ask about, especially in the third set, was Miley Hiapo. I noticed that she's actually I know that Emery is the like the primary setter, but I noticed that when she sometimes would set, it was actually very effective. And I was wondering, is that something that you work on as a play call, or is that something that maybe is just part of her natural talent where she sees it and she's able to set it really well?
So you're asking about Kamali's setting, or is that?
Yeah.
So what happens is when Emery takes the first ball, first contact, then it's Kamali's job to take the second set. And so yes, that play we call that a tabletop. And if the libero takes the ball, if Kamali took it in front of the 10-foot line, all right, then there's restrictions on that. There's some rules that we have to follow. That's why you see her bump setting a lot, or we call that tabletop. We've been working on that for the last 3 weeks. So she's done a much better job of being more accurate with those sets.
And then last question for you. In the fourth set, one thing I noticed was one of your servers, Caraccio. She's very effective. And I was just especially there were 2 plays where she had an ace, and then there was another serve that enabled Merla to get a really good kill. And I was just curious as to how is it that you use her? Like, what is it you do in a game? Like if you're up big or if you see something that the other team change, I'm just wondering how it is that you place her in the game.
So how do I'm sorry. So how do I use Emery as a server? Is that what your question is?
Caraccio. I was wondering how, like, do you pick to put her in the game? Like, is it something you see from the other team, or does it matter like how big you're up or how much you're down?
No, what's interesting is that when I recruited Emery, I felt like she had an opportunity to be maybe one of the best setters, not best servers, just because when I watched her, I thought that she had an amazing look. She could be accurate, and then she could serve it with a lot of pace. And then what we're trying to teach now is to serve it with a little bit more off speed. So, but she's turning out to be one of the best serving setters that I've ever coached. I mean, and that she came in with that. I didn't teach her much of that. I mean, I can manage her a little bit in terms of how she's thinking. But, a lot of the things that Emery does naturally are just God-given for her. She would be a terrific softball player or basketball player or soccer player and would be at this level doing it. So she's just a really talented young lady, and she's got a really good brain as well. Serving is just one of the skills that comes pretty natural for her.
Anything else for Coach Rubio? Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, you guys.
All right, we have Mayor Levite and Emery Herman here. Rachel, okay, thank you. And we'll open it up for questions. Sean, go ahead.
Thank you, ladies, for both being here. So, Merla, I was actually wondering if I could talk about the upcoming matches that you ladies have against Cal. What is it, do you feel that maybe the team is missing that you haven't been able to yet win on the road just yet?
Personally, I don't really see a difference between games on the road and at home, especially with COVID just putting us in the situation there in which we're in with having not really any fans. So I actually think that we're definitely going to get our first win on the road this weekend or next weekend, actually. Yeah, like I don't really see much of a difference between going on the road right now because we don't have these full stadiums.
And then Emery, I was just asking Coach Rubio about this. Another effective part of your game I saw, like especially like throughout these last few matches, has been serving. I was just wondering, is that something that you've been working on with Coach, or maybe like in your downtime on your own?
I think that's definitely something I've focused a lot on the past few weeks. I felt like there's just been more I felt like I could do to help my team when it comes to serving. And so I just worked on it the past few weeks, tried to be better, earn some more points that way.
And then speaking of that as well, one of the things I noticed, especially at this match, is both of you did really well on blocking. And I was wondering, Merla, like kind of like what I just asked Emery, is that something that you have been working on like as part of your game? Because, you're effective in the middle, with kills. You're effective on the slide now as well, and it looks like you've taken the next step with blocking too.
Yeah, definitely. I don't feel like I've been on my blocking game in the past months, and I feel like I'm finally able to change that and just not necessarily trying to block the ball, but just reaching over the net, like get my palms over, and that way just getting a lot of really positive touches and also kill blocks. So definitely working on that a lot for the last 2 to 3 weeks.
And then do you feel the same way as well with you, Emery? I know that you're a primary setter, but as actually Kim hinted at earlier, you seem really dominant on the net as well when you're up there. Like your blocking seems to be very effective when you go up.
I try to be. I'm not the biggest blocker, I would say, but I try to do what I can. Yeah.
Thank you, ladies.
Kim?
So when things got tight today at the end of sets, sometimes in the past there's been a little bit of struggle, and Dave's talked about experience. Do you guys kind of feel like you're settling in now where maybe you work a little bit better together when things get tight like that?
I think there's definitely some confidence that we've gained with being able to play these matches. This season's definitely helped a lot with just being able to play. A lot of people haven't been able to, and so I think us being young, it's helped a lot, and we're just each week just feels more and more confident in our skill and just what we're doing. So yeah.
Yeah, and just to add on that, like I feel like in the beginning of the season, we made a lot of unnecessary mistakes in the end of games. And now, like we still sometimes make some of them, but it's definitely a lot less than in the beginning of the season. So I think that's why we're winning the close games.
Great, thanks.
Anything else? All right. Thank you.